Well, Newmont has a lot going on. The company last week announced earnings, talked about expanding production in the back half of the year. At the same time, the mining company just celebrated its 100-year anniversary, and it's rolling out some new sustainability goals as well. Tom Palmer, the president and CEO of Newmont Corporation, is joining us now. Tom, thank you for being here. I do want to start on the production piece here. We've seen gold prices kind of muddling along in contrast with some other commodities. And you guys actually, your earnings missed estimates by a bit last week. But talk to me about what the second half of the year is going to look like in terms of spending, in terms of production, and perhaps also in terms of what you see for gold prices.
Thanks, Julie, and good morning. Certainly our production is weighted to the second half of the year. So first quarter was as expected. We've got a couple of very big mines in our portfolio, Boddington in Australia and Hathaway in Ghana. And both of those move through a mining sequence that has them reach higher grade gold in the second half of this year. So our production is weighted to the second half of the year. So first quarter was as expected, and we expect a stronger second half. Gold's still sitting at pretty healthy levels, pushing close to $1,800 today, and has been up and around $1,800 for most of the last 12 months. And there's a lot of support for that, both the demand and supply equation around gold and the level of fiscal and monetary stimulus that's coming into world economies that's going to support gold going forward. So we're pretty bullish about where gold is at and where it can head going forward. But we run our business assuming gold is at $1,200. So we have a lot of discipline around running our business and improving margins at $1,200. Then we're nicely exposed to gold at its current levels. So for every $100 increase in gold price above $1,200, Newmont generates $400 million in free cash flow every year. So at current prices, we're generating $2.4 billion of free cash flow that we're able to look to distribute to shareholders in Newmont through our dividend framework.
And so, Tom, when you're talking about these various mines and expansion in the second half of the year, how open are the mines? In other words, are you back to full capacity in terms of the workers who are there, especially because as we see COVID still make its way around the globe, there are still some areas where we are seeing a high level of cases?
Yeah, Julie, we have 12 managed operations across 8 countries, and every one of those operations are up and running and have been since the peak of the pandemic this time last year. But we have some very strict COVID protocols in place that remain in place to this day. So it's around social distancing, it's around hygiene, it's around the number of people that we have on our operating sites that we can manage the health and safety, not only of our workforce, but the local communities. So all of those protocols are still in place. Vaccines are starting to roll out. That's another important control, and we're encouraging and supporting the rollout of vaccines. But that's going to take some time to roll out across the world. In the meantime, we're maintaining all of our disciplines around our health and safety protocols for the virus, and every one of our operations is up and running and has been for many, many months.
Tom, you've also been doing a lot of deep dive work on the health of your workers. And one thing you have, at least you talked about this on the earnings call last week, workers are pretty fatigued right now. What can you do to change that?
Fatigue, there's a couple of key risks to manage in the mining industry. And if you don't get those risks managed well, then quite frankly, you don't deserve to be running a mining business. And fatality risk management is fundamental. The risks that can potentially kill people in the mining industry are well understood. And the critical controls that need to be in place at all times are very well understood. So we put a lot of time and attention into ensuring that those critical controls are understood and are in place, and that we have leaders out in the field visibly working with their team members to ensure those controls are in place. We call them critical control verifications, and across our business globally, we're doing more than 1,000 of those every day. The other important action we're taking is around fatigue, which is a key issue that can lead to serious incidents in the mining industry. We work shift work, so we're working day shift and night shift. We work 12-hour shifts, and we're putting a lot of time and attention into our fatigue management plans. what time we start a shift, how long a shift is, how many consecutive shifts you do, what's the quality of the accommodation and the quality of the sleep that people are getting. So we've been investing in improving our accommodation facilities across our business globally, expanding camps, ensuring people have their own bed to sleep in of a night or of a day, and ensuring that we are attending to that very important risk in the mining industry to ensure that doesn't lead to accidents, but also it's a source of mental health in our industry. And managing fatigue can also help manage a very important issue in the industry around mental health.
And Tom, perhaps you can settle this debate here we've had for some time. Do you believe mining companies are competing for investors with those looking to invest in cryptocurrencies?
Well, I'm a gold mining company, and gold's a very durable commodity. It's been a store of wealth for thousands of years across multiple civilizations. It's an $11 trillion industry. It's freely tradable. It's regulated. So I think gold is a very, very robust commodity, stands up well against cryptocurrencies. And then on the back of gold, if you want to invest in gold, a company like Newmont also generates a dividend. So you can have exposure to gold and the reliability of gold and the returns of gold, and you can also receive a dividend by investing in a long life, reliable company like Newmont.
Tom, thanks so much for being here. Tom Palmer, President and CEO of the Newmont Corporation. All the best, Tom.